Alright everyone, hello, what is up? TheLoganatorz here, and welcome back to KSP Conquest, Episode 5, KSP Kerbal Conquest, whatever you want to call it, it's all the same thing. Anyways, we are in low lunar orbit, where we left off last episode with Valentina Kerman. She is making her way down to the surface to become the first Kerbal, hopefully, to ever set foot on another celestial body. Will that be the case? Or will Valentina herself be turned into mystery goo as she litho breaks at an enormous speed? Hopefully that's not the case. But anyways, we're propelled on our upper stage that propelled us all the way from low Kerbal orbit to the descent on the Mun, and we would have enough Delta V to land if we did this carefully. But we're going to take it slow, and we're going to plan our descent with great care, because we do not want to turn Valentina Kerman into mystery goo. I hope that's not what mystery goo is, I'm just assuming right now. But anyways, we're making our way down to the surface of the Mun. Valentina Kerman ejects the upper stage. It has served us well, but now we're being propelled on our descent module, which has the landing legs, so it's actually built to land on the surface of the Mun. But there you go, we have landed. Valentina Kerman has landed safe and sound on the surface of another celestial body, marking a historic chapter in the history of Kerbal kind. So she collects some science experiments and hops out of the capsule to plant a flag and stare back up at Kerbal and Mission Control and wave at everybody who is looking back at her. But anyway, she also gets a nice little EVA jaunt up to the rim of the crater, and she gets a nice view down to the just the bottom of the crater there, and it's a pretty nice shot. Valentina Kerman is obviously awestruck at the sight. But we've had enough fun here, so we need to head back already, because we have some more Mun missions and more missions to do in the episode in general. So she hops back into her capsule, and we are already off and away. This thing is more than enough Delta V to get back to Kerbal. And yeah, so we're just gonna burn straight there and just head right back home. Valentina Kerman makes a graceful re-entry as she re-enters the Kerbal atmosphere and splashes down on a sunset, so marking a very nice end to the mission indeed. But now it's time to go back to the Kerbal Space Center and accept some more contracts. So before we accept any contracts, we're going to research a few new tech nodes, specifically the fairings tech. We want to get that as soon as possible, and now that we have it, we can start building probes that are less aerodynamically stable, and we can still launch it into orbit with ease. So that is very, very good. Also, we've accepted a contract to go map the surface of Minmus with a low resolution altimetry scanner, so we're making Atlas 3 to go do the job. We've also accepted a mission to plant a flag on the Mun, because that pays rather nicely, so we're gonna go and do that. So we got Moon Explorer 4 in the build queue, and Atlas 3 is being constructed, so we're gonna launch Atlas 3 first, and then when it's mid-route to Minmus, we're gonna launch Moon Explorer 4 with none other than Jebediah Kerman. Alright, here we are on the launch pad with Atlas 3. This is supposed to be the satellite that's gonna map Minmus, so hopefully we can do that. We have some new technology that we've got here. We've got these launch clamps, and we have a fairing this time, so the launch is hopefully going to go a bit more swimmingly this time. So with that being said, SAS on, throttle to full, let's get this sucker in the air in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, check your staging, because now there's a missile on the loose. Watch it come back and hit me, though, I swear. Alright, well, we're up, so we're gonna ignore that for the moment and get ourselves into orbit. I over-engineered this thing again, so I should have enough Delta V anyway, so let's do this. Other than those SRBs detaching prematurely in the beginning, the launch goes very swimmingly. We get up into orbit with no problems at all, and we just ditch that arrow shell as well as the first stage and just cruise our way up into a stable orbit. From there, we change our inclination to match that of Minmus's, and then we just burn prograde until we find ourselves an encounter. We haven't upgraded the mission control quite yet, so we can't actually plan a maneuver node that will give us efficient intercept with Minmus. However, we do get a pretty good one with the one we have, and it's just a matter of fine-tuning it and then time warping to Minmus itself to get into an orbit where we will use our scanner to collect some valuable data for future landing sites and science, but most importantly to complete the contract for SCANsat, whoever's paying us. And yeah, there you go. Anyways, yeah, we just complete that and move on to our next mission. Alright, here we are on the launch pad with our second MUN mission. This is going to go to a different biome, collect some more science, and hopefully that's going to give us enough science to get closer to the parts I need to research the interplanetary, the dish, so I can communicate with probes out to Duna. I already have a few contracts to go to Duna, but we obviously can't do that right now because we don't have the technology required to perform an orbital mission, unless I use a remote tech flight computer. That'd be really tricky, but, you know, we're gonna worry about that some other time. Right now, we need to get to the MUN. Jebediah Gurman obviously taking this spot for himself. We got a contract to plant a flag on the MUN, and I think that's gonna do it for this mission. Just collect some science, plant a flag, and then head home. Alright, let's get ready to launch in 3, 2, 1. Lift off. Alright, so MUN Explorer 4 is off the pad. This is the 4th Kerbal mission to the MUN, the second one to land. And actually, the MUN Explorer program might be coming to a close rather soon, because, I mean, there's a few biomes we still need to explore on the MUN, but, you know, it could be done in just a few hops around with maybe a slightly bigger rocket by someone like our scientist Bob Kerman, who can reset experiments and everything. But maybe there'll be an extension to the MUN Exploration program where we'll have like a MUN Exploration lab in low lunar orbit, and we'll conduct science experiments there and have a lab just to keep researching data. Maybe it can be like a backup life support hub, or we can just have a lander for quick and easy access down to the surface for tourism or something like that. There's a lot of possibilities for a MUN orbital laboratory, but right now that's all in the distant future. We just need to get to the MUN, which we do so with ease since this rocket has more than enough power to get to the MUN and back. And yeah, just traveling all the way there on the upper stage. I'm really surprised the performance is just so powerful on this stage. It's just absolutely awesome. I'm planning on upgrading this rocket to make it reusable, the first stage, but we're gonna have to see how that goes in a future launch because we're not quite there yet. But anyways, Jebediah Kerman has landed on the MUN, and he plants a flag for commemorating the second landing on the MUN, so pretty cool achievement there for Jebediah. He's still a little angry that he wasn't the first to land on the MUN, but I'm sure he's going to find a way to get his seat on the first Kerbal mission to Minmus. Anyways, Jebediah Kerman leaves the MUN by just burning straightly upward, just directly upward, because that's just going to be the easiest way to get home. We could go into an orbit, a parking orbit, but that's going to take a little more time. And we landed in a spot that just happened to be aligned with the MUN's orbital path, that when we burn straight up, we're actually burning retrograde. So that's going to give us a nice deorbit burn right there. So we just time warp down to the atmosphere of Kerbin and re-enter. So a graceful ending to yet another graceful mission. So let's move on to the next mission, get some more funds, and push the space program further into the future. Alright, now that we've recovered Jeb and got all the science we can possibly get, we need to upgrade our R&D. In order to do so, we need an excess of 900,000 Kerbucks. So, to help us with this, we went into the admin building and did a strategy that's going to convert some of our reputation into funds, which is good since we can't really do anything else with our reputation anyway, so might as well. Anyways, we've accepted some more contracts to build communication networks around the MUN and Minmus. So we're going to design a rocket that can do both in just 2 launches, believe it or not. I actually intended this one to be recoverable, which you saw in the first stage, but unfortunately when I did launch this, I ran into some problems where the whole thing was like a big noodle in flight, and that was because the small probe core that was attached to the first stage it was just too small of an area to support the entire upper stage and the payload and everything. So next time I'm going to add some struts and hopefully it's going to be a bit more stable. We do pop the parachute zone, it slows us down, recover a little bit of the vessel, but the majority of it is destroyed, so we do lose a bit of money. But luckily we didn't lose everything. So I rebuilt that craft by adding some more struts in, and it solved the problem. The craft worked like a charm, and we're able to get up into orbit with plenty of Delta V to make it out all the way to Minmus, and have plenty to spare for an orbital maneuver, which will hopefully allow us to deploy all the satellites that we have on board. So really cool there. I kind of like this design with the 4 satellites on top. Pretty cool. Unfortunately, when we were launching Minimus Network into orbit, we lost contact with the booster since we waited too long to get into a stable orbit, so we couldn't switch back to the booster, which promptly despawned in the atmosphere. A bit unfortunate there. Hopefully we can do better in the next launch with the MUN network. But anyways, we need to launch the next one, which is bound for the MUN. It's the identical craft, just this time it's going to go to the MUN and perform the same thing there. Unfortunately, though, this time I actually, when I deployed the fairing, the fairing kind of blew into my engine a bit and may or may not have destroyed it. So, quick thinking got me to use the TUG's engine to get us into a suborbital trajectory, and we're just going to ditch as many satellites as we can and get them into stable orbits. And we actually do that with 3 of the 4 satellites, and so we have 3 successfully deployed satellites in low Kerbal orbit. One of them was destroyed, but 3 of them with enough delta V to get to the MUN and barely get into orbit. So luckily these satellites have so much delta V that they're able to perform that task. But we do actually launch all of them onto a translunar injection. You can just see all of them kind of going on that orbital path. It looks pretty nice actually. But just get them to like rough orbits. They're going to get out of sync eventually, but we just need them now to complete the contract. And just a rough communications network over the MUN is fine. I'm not going to send too many things on the surface there that would need communication, I don't think. I mean, maybe I can send rovers or something like that, but for the most part, I don't think I'm going to do that. Anyways, we join our Minmus connection, which is faring a much better trip, and it successfully gets into the orbit of Minmus with no problems at all, and I just deploy all of its satellites, and it's really fun to just leave, you know, the tug behind when you're deploying these satellites, and in my opinion, it just kind of looks cool. Flying away ever so gently away from the mothership. But we get all the satellites into successful orbits. We only needed 3 for this mission. We have an extra one, so we'll just kind of throw that to the side for now, so that's cool. But anyways, we go back to the Mission Control Center, which we're going to accept another contract to get some scientific data over Minmus. So it's kind of like free money right there, because Atlas 3, I was intending a contract like this to pop up, so I just stuck a thermometer on the side. And so we just beam back some thermometer data over Minmus, and we get 4 science for that, and a few thousand Kerbucks, like 20,000 or something like that, so not too bad there. I also go around collecting science on all the different scanning satellites that we have in the Kerbal system. So pretty cool there, some extra science and money. Also, I want to get some more contracts from Minmus since we're going to be sending some Kerbal missions there. And the first thing we're going to do is send the tug down to the surface, because that has so much delta V, and it would be a shame not to use it for a landing or something important. So we just send that down to the surface. We have an extra reaction wheel on this, so it's super easy to control. We have a Terry with plenty of delta V. So yeah, everything really looks good for this, and we managed to get down to the surface with no problems at all. And we get some world first milestone rewards, nothing too serious, but hopefully that's going to open up some contract opportunities for the people back at Mission Control, and we'll be able to make some more money in future missions. So there you go, guys. That has been episode 5 of KSP Conquest. I do hope you're enjoying this series. If you are, make sure to like so I know you're enjoying these installments in the ever-growing series on the channel. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see you in the next one, because we've got a lot of important missions to do, and we need to unlock that long-range remote tech dish so we can communicate to Eve and Duna spacecraft. In fact, we have an Eve window that's kind of close. Hopefully we'll be able to get a spacecraft out into Eve's sphere of influence here soon, but that's gonna have to wait until hopefully the next episode. But until then, guys, I hope you enjoyed KSP Conquest today, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Goodbye, guys, and thank you for watching.